Okay, your girl's looking very senora with her wet hair. Okay, anyways, so today's video, I have some big news. I have decided to leave Japan after being here for 2 years. It has been such a crazy journey. I think a lot of people want to move to Japan, and there's just some unforeseeable things that you might not expect. And you might think you're going to come to Japan and be happy for the rest of your life. I wanted to preface this by saying that I have always wanted to leave the United States. I'm That's not what this video is about like hating on the United States and how it can't meet my needs, but it was very clear since I was a child when I would travel to other places, the very few times I would travel, that I was like, yo, there's a whole other world out here and it's for me. I remember going to Mexico and Canada and just going to the supermarket and seeing like all of these different items and variations and like how everything just felt so different. I was very like, this is the most natural and exciting feeling that I've ever felt. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like when you start a new video game and it's just like this whole world and you can just like get lost in it, right? And it's just like so exciting. So I always knew in my mind like I was gonna live in another country. I didn't know which um other country, but I was like, dude, for sure. There's no doubt in my mind like I'm leaving the United States. The reason why I was so attracted to the Japanese culture was because I was so interested in a culture that prioritized harmony and empathy. And I think those are like parts of my being that are just so natural, and I haven't been in a lot of environments where that's celebrated. Would it be like if I go to a place where they value how other people feel more than like their own feelings? And just like with the way that I grew up, I kind of wanted to be around a culture that was like my natural disposition was. You know, people talk about it a lot about how when you come here, if you're on the phone on the train, like it's really frowned upon. And that's kind of how I've always just felt, like even in the States. And so, like, my natural mind is very similar to Japanese mind, where, like, okay, if we're sharing a space and it's a public space, I'm not going to subject you to something that you didn't request, like me being on the phone. First of all, I'm very private, so I never even like people to hear my phone conversations, anyways. But like, I just think it's so ridiculous to be on speakerphone and like other people can hear you, or even if they're not on speakerphone, like you're just having a conversation. Um, like I get it. Like there's times where like you just need to take a call, but for the most part, it's like, yo, this is the public sphere. How about we just like be considerate about like what's acceptable? And it becomes a slippery slope, right? Because it's very subjective of what's appropriate and what's not, and that's the difficulty. But at the end of the day, I do really think that Japan has that correct. Like, how about putting the harmony of the world, our people, our society, kind of like higher above our needs, you know? And the thing is like if you teach people or children to have the right values, to have the right core values, then they can grow up and do those things, right? But the problem is like when it becomes at an expense of your identity or your expression. And so that's why there's just no place on earth that I know of that it's got it all right. I just want like one thing to be said is that I don't think anybody should ever be forced to keep the peace if the situation has caused them to not be peaceful. That means that if you disrespect me and my natural reaction is to like call you out and to whatever, like I'm sorry, but I'm just like that's going to take precedence over keeping the peace in an environment because you did something that was super disrespectful and like Yeah, we're about to embarrass you. Period. Definitely want to say that I'm not here to, hate on Japan. I will always love Japan. I just want to talk about like my journey with shifting from I think I want to spend the rest of my life here to I definitely do not want to spend the rest of my life here. So back to the beginning. So I grew up watching Sailor Moon and I was like, man, it just looks so good over there. And that magic really captured me and it always was like deep in my subconscious. Like one day you're gonna go live in Japan. And for most of my life up until recently, I was really in survival. So I wasn't able to really make like a goal of being like, okay, like I'm gonna live in Japan, like starting from this age, and I'm gonna work towards it and everything like that. Like I was purely in survival. I didn't really get to the point where I could like actually consider leaving the country until like I was basically almost 30. And even when I felt like it was possible, it just kind of seemed so far from my reality at the time. And I just didn't know like how I was going to go about moving to a new country. In the United States, I was just living so out of alignment and yeah, it just didn't resonate. So year after year, it's just kind of like you're out of sync with your heart's desires. And then, like, year after year, you keep doing that. And it's just like, it's not good. So, yeah, so I finally made the decision to move to Japan. And I didn't know anybody that lived here. And so it was so fucking daunting. Oh my God. And I don't want to even get into the specifics. I'll make another video of like how I moved here. I would say that my expectations did meet reality. Well, first of all, like the bar was pretty low because I'm coming from the United States. So, I mean, let's be real, like almost any country is going to be better than living in the United States. So, it was great. Like I just the main thing I loved when I first moved here was like the architecture. I just would get lost in like all of the buildings and the homes and I just thought it was so interesting and I loved how you would have like a really um old building next to like a really modern building and how it was like very eclectic and I just would love to just wander everywhere through neighborhoods. And it was just like such a magical time of coming to Japan and familiarizing myself. I had nobody guiding me on this. I had nobody supporting me, being like, okay, so like, what's your plan? Like, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna do it? Like, have you thought about this? Um, so it was a lot of trial and error. I absolutely know that living in Japan, I have absolutely gotten better at planning. I've always been good at like orchestrating, or what's the other word? Um, um, Execution. Like I'm so good at that. I've never needed help to jump, but it's knowing when I need to jump that's always been my problem, and I have like suffered from that like all my life, and I've just jumped face first onto my face like so many times. And yeah, like I've just learned a lot about like measuring and anticipation. Again, the whole like prefrontal cortex. So living in Japan was so great at first. I was so happy and I felt very, very free. Um, I had been doing so much healing work prior to moving. I feel like, the years leading up to moving to Japan, it was a lot of like unlearning. It was a lot of like rebuilding my foundation that was like fucked from the start. Like, I could not build shit on my foundation, period. There's process and progress when you commit to working on these things. So yeah, moving to Japan, it was like I had done a lot of like the first legs of rebuilding my identity to my like core slash like my like every single cell in my entire body, which was super hard and super difficult. But when I got to Japan, I kind of got to be like, okay, who would I be like if I felt safe? Because to be real, like I had never felt safe, in my society. I had never felt safe in my family. I had never felt safe in relationships. So my nervous system was so fucked up. Like I just remember like realizing how much panic and distress I had for no reason. And I think I had just like I had become so accustomed to that being my normal that I didn't really even like clock it until one day I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, and then I realized I was like, dude, I've been feeling like this forever. Like, I've been feeling just like so panicked and distressed. And I was suffering from CPTSD and PTSD. And so that was like on top of like my autoimmune stuff. So I came to Japan and I learned what safety felt like. And that is the best gift like I could have ever given myself is like to become safe inside of myself, in my body, in my mind, in my heart, in my spiritual world, and then like that match my outer environment, because it doesn't matter how much inner work you do, like if you don't feel safe in your outer environment, like you're always going to be competing for like that feeling of safety. So moving to Japan was like absolutely hands down the best decision I ever made, because it's such a safe country. I wasn't worried about getting trafficked, which now is coming to light that it's like it's so prevalent and common, and like thank God for all of that. Like I've known this for fucking ever. And people would just downplay it all the time. I have been living as a single woman like my entire almost my entire adult life. And like I am at risk every single day of my life to be abducted, to be trafficked, to be like assaulted, whatever. And I'm just so grateful that people are like seeing the reality, because I'm just like, bro, like you don't know what it feels like to live alone and always having to watch your back. Like if I want to go out, I'm going out alone. So then I have to watch my back about like my drinks and getting home, and then I have to worry about my fucking Uber driver or whatever. Like no. No, 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 no. So I've already been on that page for a long ass time. And like I know Japan is not perfect. Like there's shit that happens, but like in general, bro, it's nothing like the States. There is no place in Japan that will ever feel as dangerous as I felt in the States. Okay, ever, period. And I've lived in a lot of cities in the States. And but also what I've really come to to understand, and I kind of had this theory about it when I first moved here, but I wasn't sure until finally I was like, okay, I'm sure. So I guess I just give off like a bad bitch like energy, because I have never been fucked with here ever. And I'm constantly hearing about other people being fucked with like on the train. Like I know a woman who got felt up on the train. I like her friend got the same thing. I've watched YouTubers talk about it. Like it has just been like endless in my mind. Like, okay, one day I'm gonna get like some sort of like, I don't know if assault is the right word, but like someone's gonna bother me and it's gonna be very uncomfortable. Like maybe a stalker, or yeah, like mainly like somebody who's like feel me up on the train or something like that. So I was always prepared, and I was like, what would I do if like someone did that to me? And I was just like, dude, I would fucking lose my shit, and I would automatically like go report it and probably chase the motherfucker down. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but I know that I wouldn't just like let it happen and then like let it go. So yeah, I kind of had that theory. I was like, okay, I think that I must give off like kind of like a tough vibe, because um yeah, I just never had an experience. And then now I'm ending my stay at the 2 year mark. And I was like, okay, for sure. Like, I give off like an intimidating, maybe even scary vibe. And also, I've just really come to realize that Japanese men do not like my type. I'm a type, right? Like, I'm spoken, strong. Men do not like that here at all. And those are like the things that you start to see over time. Like, at the beginning, you don't really see like the perspective of the culture at first. And like, you're a foreigner, right? So you don't really care. You're just like, oh well, yeah, I don't fit like the norm, but it's like it's whatever. Like, I didn't expect to come here and become Japanese, which there are so many foreigners who come here and they like want to be Japanese, and then they like, they try to assimilate to like most ultimate extent. That was never me, okay? Like, I came here to stay myself, to be Mexican, to like just be me, and actually like dated somebody for some time here. We ended up clashing so much because he wanted me to he wanted to date somebody who was not from here. He said that suited him better. But then when we were dating, I felt like he was constantly trying to get me to act Japanese and like point out in all of the ways in which like I shouldn't be acting a certain way and like blah blah blah. Obviously, like that didn't work out for long for sure. But it was such a great experience because now that I'm at the point of leaving, like I really do feel like that was like just a small representation of how it is as a whole. Like, over time it gets distressing to Japanese people if you're outside of the box. If you don't behave the way that they think that you need to behave, like in the parameters, like in this location, like in this context, like everything needs to be defined and like safe. And again, like I was like looking for safety, so like that was amazing. But eventually, like it does get tiring where, you're just your natural personality. Like, I'm a very expressive person. Like, when I'm distressed, when I'm disgusted, when I'm angry, like you can see that on my face. And like, I've never tried to change that. I'm not trying to be like a fucking poker face or like, hide the way that I feel. I think it's amazing to be expressive. Like, why would I want to be a cardboard box and just like, pretend I'm good when I'm not, or whatever, and so that's kind of like eventually like what led me to really realize, like, okay, like my natural personality is not what's good here. And I don't mind being different. Like, I've been different my entire life. I've been like the black sheep of my family and just like, just different. And so that's not what bothers me. But what does bother me and what did start to weigh on me is like I grew up in a very suppressed environment, like where people wanted to minimize my power, my opinion, because they were intimidated by what that would mean for them if I like showed them like everything that I could be. I wasn't celebrated for being me. It was like, no, you need to tone down, you need to follow um like orders and everything like that. And here's the thing that I've learned about living in Japan is like, when shit makes sense, dude, I fucking love order. I fucking love structure. I fucking love rules. I love it. And that's why a part of me like did flourish here, because I'm like, oh, it makes sense. Like, this works like this. And, like it's great. But the thing is like, if things don't make sense to me, then there's no way. What I have learned in Japan is just like, if I live here, I'm always gonna have to basically like live in a bubble with other people who understand who I am and like support it and like nourish it, and like always have to sort of kind of feel like I have to subdue my energy or like my expressions, my personality in order to not rock the boat. And like that paired with the fact that people don't really like creativity. Like, okay, anime now and manga are like now so globally recognized and everything like that, but that's definitely not the majority of society that's like really into that or like really like loves art. Like people love uniformity here. It is very black and white. Like that's how I would describe Japan as a whole, in my opinion. Is it feels like Pleasantville. It feels like everything is so pleasant, everybody's so kind, everybody's so respectful, but everything is black and white. People are not wearing color, like literally. And then like it's just such a subdued version of reality. And that's like we know in work and school and families. And so it's just like no bro, like I cannot I cannot suppress my natural being at all whatsoever ever again. So I was like, listen, I'm a really creative person. I want to be doing creative projects. I want to be able to wear what I want. You can't even show your fucking shoulders here, bro. Okay, and forget it about cleavage. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. And I don't mind hiding my tattoos because at the end of the day, I got my tattoos for me. But having visible tattoos, like, people stare at you. And I'm like, damn, like, yeah, but I mean, I'm dedicated to my own culture, so I'm gonna have tattoos because I love art and I love me. So, yeah, I think those are kind of the main points about Japanese culture. Just the fact that, like, me as a woman, like, my representation is absolutely not celebrated here. In every country, there's like types, right? And like the ideal type of what's attractive and everything like that. Like here, it's very much like this, like innocent, refined, polished, highly feminine, um, like look, right? And they all like mostly look the same. And I'm not hating on people at all, but I'm just saying that that the ideal version of what women like celebrate here is the absolute opposite of what I am. And yeah, like it can weigh on you, I think. Like it's just like, damn, dude, like just not seeing your own representation every single day, it starts to wear on you more than you will ever realize, in my opinion. And that's the thing is like, so at the end of the day, Japan did meet all my expectations and more. I have learned so much about myself and like learned who I am when I feel safe and like learning so much about structure and blah 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 blah. But what I didn't anticipate was like the person that I'm growing into, what are her needs? Like there was the version of me that was like healing and sick and everything like that. So my needs at that time were obviously super different than where I'm at now. Like I'm healed, I'm healthy. Like now I want to express myself. Now I want to be like the most that I can possibly be in every single situation. And that is so interesting because, yeah, like I've never been able to do that safely. And now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna be me. And so that's kind of what I decided. I was like, yeah, so the person that I am now, like, it just doesn't match with Japan. I'm always gonna be like fighting against the grain. And I'm just like not down for that. Like I did that all my life. Like now I'm like ready to just like, be in a society that celebrates my type, like where I'm inspired to be more, to do more, and to express myself safely, and like not be afraid of taking risks. Like here, it's like you wear a bright colored shirt and you're like, oh my gosh, like people are gonna stare at me. Like it's just unnatural. And then the final part of it is just that like I realized how much um my Latino culture means to me. Like it's always been so important, but not to the extent that it's becoming now. Now it's like it is the most important thing. I need to be around people who get my culture, and I just need to be around more people in my culture because and like that's the thing, it's like it's hard because you're like, oh, we're all human and like we all like love is love and everything like that, but like we are still human and cultures still exist and there are still cultures that resonate with more people like versus others. And like that's what I realize is that like my culture not only resonates, but like I thrive in my culture. Like when I would be studying Japanese, something that would really kind of bother me was like like, I speak Spanish, right? So, like, my Spanish is good, but I've never been given the opportunity to like live and work speaking Spanish entirely. And so the way that I felt about it was just like, damn, like it didn't really register. It just like these little hints of it would register until the end where it was like, I want the opportunity to perfect my Spanish. I want to work in Spanish. I want like my environment to be in Spanish. I personally don't feel called to learn this entire new language that does not resemble my two languages at all whatsoever. And like to basically dedicate myself to that for the rest of my life learning Japanese because it's going to be like a lifelong thing. That just didn't resonate with me. I was like, no, like I need time and space to really go perfect my native language, my first language. Um, and so yeah, like it's time. To Japan was the best decision of my life. I love it here. I recommend it for people, to come for a time, or if your long-term needs aren't going to be so specific, like it's a fantastic place. But I think what I want to tell people, and I'll just reiterate it, is a place might resonate for a time, but you're always growing into who you're becoming, right? And you don't know or anticipate what that version of you values because everything is like, on a scale. And so for a time, there was like stuff that I found more important than other stuff. But now I'm like, whoa, wait, 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 wait. This is actually so important to me, and I need to be there with that. And yeah, it's just time to go be with my people and to be the most that I possibly can and take all of the beautiful lessons I've learned in Japan. So grateful for the opportunity that I had to live here for 2 years and study Japanese culture from the inside out.